Hi guys, welcome to our equations of circles practice and review. We're going to review kind of everything we've done in this little part of the unit to get prepared for our test. All right, we have to write the equation of the circle in standard form, then in general form. So I've got a center and a radius, so I'm going to do standard first because I can easily see that. Just following the formula, it's x minus the given x, so minus -1 is going to be plus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared. Now remember, it equals r squared. So the radius here equals 4, so r squared would equal 16. And there I have it. I have the equation in standard form. Now remember, to go to general form, I have to follow the algebra. So I have to take my x plus 1 squared, and I have to square it. That's going to be my x squared plus, I double this, 2x, and then I square this, plus 1. And I'm adding to it the y minus 3 squared. So I'm going to have my y squared. I'm going to double the -3 to -6y, and then I'm going to square -3 to plus 9. So far we're okay. Now I'm just going to write this in order for general form. Plus 2x minus 6y. I have plus 10. Remember, I'm equal to 16. Last thing I have to do is be equal to 0, so I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. And my general form ends up being x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 6y minus 6 equals 0. This is my general, big G for general. Standard form. And general form. Why don't you try the second one? Pause the video, come back and see if you get them right. All right, how'd you do? Go back and try to work backwards and see if you can correct your errors. Okay, write the equation in standard form for a circle that has a center point here and goes through point 14. So from the center to a point on the circle is equal to the radius. So the first thing I have to do is get my distance from these two points to get the length. Remember, distance is length of my radius. I like using my little T-chart. So I know that my rise is plus 1. I know my run is plus 3. Distance is equal to the run squared plus the rise squared. Taking the square root of that. So my distance equals the square root of 10, which equals my radius. Okay, so now I got to think about my equation. It's x plus 2, because remember the minus, it would be x minus -2, that's my center, plus y minus 3 squared. And it's going to equal my radius squared. So I have to think about, okay, my radius equals the square root of 10. Radius squared would equal the square root of 10 squared. Square root of 10 squared is the square root of 10 times the square root of 10, which is the square root of 100. So my radius squared equals 10. So I can now go back here and just replace my, and there I am. equation is now in standard form. Next thing we looked at was whether a point was inside, or outside, or on the circle. So first I have to have my equation. They've given me the center and the radius, so I can write my equation in the circle as x minus 3 squared plus y minus a negative 6 is plus 6 squared equals my radius, which is 2. 2 squared is 4. Now that I have my equation, I'm just going to test these points. So if I look at this point 2, negative 5, I'm going to plug them into the equation. 2 is my x, negative 5 plus my 6, and I'm going to compare it to see does it equal 4. Well, what I get here is a negative 1 squared plus 1 squared equals 4. When I compare that, a negative 1 squared is 1, 1 squared is 1, that's 1 plus 1. 2 is actually less than 4. So this one will be, since it's less than the radius, it's going to be inside. Okay, I want you to test 5 and 6. Pause the video. Come back and let's see if you get them correct. Okay. If you didn't, go back again now that you have the answers and try to work backwards to the correct answer. Then we identified center and radius and we sketched a graph. So here my center is a negative 2. It would have been a negative 2 to make that positive. And then since my y is by itself, it's just a 0. And my radius equals the square root of 1, which equals 1. Remember, this right here is r squared. So I'm going to take negative 2, 0. And then from my center, I'm going to count a radius of 1 out on each side. And we're going to graph it. Okay. I think these are pretty simple. Just make sure that you know what your center is. This one is 1, 3. The negatives are with it. And the radius is 4. Here your center, your center is going to be a negative 3, and your radius is going to equal 2. Your center here is a negative 3, 4, and your radius equals 3. Okay, now we're going to take this information they've given us and we're going to write the equation in standard form and then general form. So I'm going to start with standard form, x minus 3 squared plus y plus 8 squared equals 64. We'll follow that algebra. Square this one, double it, square it. Okay, so now once I'm here, I'm going to get things in order. Remember, it's x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 16y. I'm sorry, I should have a 64 here. My brain's skipping ahead. And then I have 9 plus 64. Those are my two constants that I add here. That would be 73. And then I'm going to subtract 64 from both sides. So 73 minus 64. Gives me a 9 here to be equal to 0. Pause the video. See if you can do this one. Come back and check your answer. Okay, again, if you have any questions to that, work backwards. This one's a little more interesting because I have a y value that equals 0, Remember, I'm still just going to have x minus 9 squared plus, I could write y minus 0 squared equals 81. That's my r squared. Y minus 0 squared is just y squared. So if I'm going to write it in standard form and simplify, there you go. And then when I follow the algebra to go to general, I don't have to do anything with the y squared. And then when I reorder, I have plus 81, and then I'm going to have minus 81 on both sides. So I'm going to have a 0 here. It doesn't cancels out, equals 0. And there I am. You guys give this one here a try. Pause the video and come back to see if you've got it correct. That's your standard. Okay, last few problems, and let's see. Now we're going to go from our general form back to standard. This is completing the square, so I'm going to have my x squared plus my 6x plus room for completing plus room for completing. Now I'm going to move the negative 126 over, so it's going to be positive 126. Remember, all I'm going to do is divide by 2. Now what's in the parentheses is what I end up putting with my standard form equation. But I have to add the 9 and the 25. Oops. So my center here is going to be negative 3, 5. And my radius is going to equal the square root of 160 units, which is the same thing as 4 root 10. All right, guys, you guys try this next one. Pause the video quickly. I'm going to try to get the answer for you so you can check your work. Okay, hopefully you were able to check that and you've done well. If you have any other questions or concerns about this, be sure to reach out and ask your questions, and I will see you soon. Bye.